Welcome to Shielded Voices, the podcast where we break the stigma, build resilience, and support the men and women who serve our communities. I'm Mitch, a dedicated law enforcement professional with over 8 years of full-time experience and a combined 15 years of experience in law enforcement. My journey began as a police cadet, a reserve police officer, and now I am a full-time deputy. I am a defensive tactics instructor, an emergency vehicle operations instructor, and a former drug recognition expert. Now, I'm here to share the conversations that matter the most.
And I'm Brian, a deputy with over 15 years of service. I bring my experience as a defensive tactics instructor, emergency vehicle operations instructor, field training officer, a member of the riot team, as well as the narcotics team as a liaison. I'm also a veteran of the United States Army, and I am passionate about faith, family, and supporting our brothers and sisters in law enforcement.
Together, we're here to share stories, insights, and real talk about the challenges and triumphs of life in law enforcement. Whether it's breaking down the barriers around mental health, reflecting on our own shared experiences, or providing tools for growth and recovery, we're here to have the conversations that matter.
Our goal is simple: to support first responders, foster open communication, and remind everyone in this community that they are never alone. This is a space for growth, connection, and building stronger voices together.
Thank you for joining us. Let's dive into today's episode where we continue to break the silence.
Welcome back to Shielded Voices. This is part 2 with Jimmy Ward. We can say it now because you've already dropped the bomb. Former state trooper with the state of Maryland.
Yep.
And we like part 1, we've kind of got into some shit. I kind of want to transition into, like we were talking about, kind of where you've come. Like you've been at this point now. You don't work for the agency anymore. It's been just over a year. So what's next for Jimmy Ward? Like, what's going on? I really want to hear about where you've been this last week, because you and I have been kind of texting back and forth.
Sure.
You took a little road trip down to Florida.
Yeah, so I was down in Florida. I got my certification from John Maxwell in coaching, speaking, and training. John Maxwell is probably the number one guy in the world on leadership and personal growth. So I kind of put myself through, I re-educated myself for the last year, man, and I've done a lot of different things, but working under his platform has been the most motivational and educationally based thing that I've done, as far as really connecting, his information and the principles and the values that he teaches really connects with me. And it's things that I hope will be an extension of my own programs, utilizing some of the concepts and the theories of, people that are highly regarded and have done things completely the right way their entire life, and being able to go back and take some of these platforms and these things and put them into a program. So yes, now I'm officially certified in his program. I'm not quite at the full launch stage for my own personal stuff yet, just waiting for some paperwork and some, business plans and models to all get caught up to speed. But the goal is to take all these trials and tribulations, and it's one of those things, you hear it over and over and over. And I can't tell you how many people are like, well, how are you going to help others? And how are you going to do this? And it's like, taking that ability to get up when you get knocked down is like the most bulletproof resume anyone could have.
Yes.
So taking it, creating a program that's attainable, creating platform and the ability to help guys that I already deal with on a regular basis to have that conversation. And, we've had a couple offline conversations, even with Mitch and his situation, and many of officers across the world. I'm so for the family element, and I'm so for first responders. And to be honest, I'm so for corporate America to do everything in a manner that is respectable to the top all the way down to the bottom of your agency or your department, right? And everyone's a human being. Everyone has a little different things. Everyone, yes, there is levels to this, right? There is bosses, there's workers, there's employees, there's supervisors. But at the end of the day, everyone is a human being. They all have a family. They all go back. And if we start treating people with that kind of respect and dignity, Any
Yeah.
corporation, any agency, any person in the world's only going to benefit from that. And I think
one of the things that I've always reminded myself of, and I pass it along to recruits when in reference to the human beings, I always try to tell them, and I tell myself, hey, guess what? They sit down to shit the same as you do.
yeah,
Now, sure, were there some times in my 20s where I probably shit my pants standing up? Sure, right? Old English 800 was involved, but we're humans.
yeah,
We all sit down to shit. Like, relax.
yeah.
Like it's just not, and it becomes a, I don't know, like, is it a pride? Is it an ego thing? Like I've never had a problem. Like I can look, I'll tell you straight. I've arrested one of our circuit court judges before.
Yeah.
Not my fucking problem. Like you're just a person to me.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to call you, but the respect, just like in the military, I'm going to respect the rank. And by the way, he was amazing. He was awesome. There was no issues there. But my prior law enforcement life, I could talk to multimillionaire CEOs. I don't give a fuck. We're just people.
Yeah.
And that's a skill that cops have, is talking to people, let alone the management skills that you have that we've gained over the years just by doing the job.
Sure.
I'm finding corporate America actually seeks people like that. Like you can talk to people, and manage your time as well as other people. We want you.
Yeah.
You're going to be pleasantly surprised when you actually start diving into that. The job opportunities that are actually out there.
Oh,
it's pretty awesome.
100%. And I'm going to read you this quote. I pulled it the other day when we were talking because it's one that I heard a while ago, and you're going to laugh. I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to show you where it came from, and your guys aren't going to believe this. But this is what really changed.
Okay.
This is an light bulb moment for me. It says, too often we're angry when things don't go right. Let go of your loss. Yesterday ended last night. The first step to take in winning direction is to work on yourself with an attitude correction. That's the quote.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is in a book to my children.
Child's book.
It's in a little kid's book.
What's it? Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
That is the book.
And it's a kid's book.
It's
wow.
kid's book. And that is literally been like, that was the light switch moment. Is a comment like that is when I said have no resentment and absolute forgiveness. It was the way I viewed things, man. I was such a hard shell for so long, and I thought the world saw me one way, and I thought that I carried myself in a way. And I said this on the other show. At work, I was the funniest dude in the room. I was hilarious, and I had no holds barred, man. If someone was speaking, I'd say whatever. I'd make the side comment. We would have fun. If a commander would say something, I'd say, hey, I think we should do it this way. And I had the utmost confidence because I was successful. I had confidence.
Yep.
As soon as I came home, I'd be the first guy to fall asleep on the couch or not even crack a smile, or I'd have that resting bitch face. And, that quote and many like that quote made me realize when I fixed my view and my attitude on perception of way people see us and see the world, your growth is you.
Yep.
You can do that. And that's part of the program design that I've done and I've created is, guys, we can all do this. Women, guys, first responders, corporate America, everyday human beings, take care of yourself. Love yourself, take care of yourself. And when you do that, that's when the world's going to open up in a whole different light. And that's what this year's been for me, man. It's been the absolute hardest to have a broken, I'm a single father with 2 kids now, and go through some family changes, going through some work changes, going through daily ritual changes. Man, I smile 24 hours a day now. I smile when my sleep. And I'm not a guy that I would say I ever remembered my dreams. I don't even remember having nightmares. And I slept in pain. I slept with shoulder pain. I slept with hip pains. Man, I wake up now and I'm like, well, that was a pretty good night's sleep. Wow.
God, lucky you. Fuck you.
My shoulder doesn't hurt now. And all these things. And I'm not saying that the scars aren't there. I still have the cuts and the bruises and the replacement.
Yeah.
But losing the weight. I started doing mushroom coffee. I don't know if you guys, I'm a big brain health guy, but man, I'm doing Rise mushroom coffee. The bloat is gone. The weight loss is good.
Yep.
The joint pain is gone.
Yep.
My mental clarity, man. I could sit on the couch last year and 4 hours would go away and I didn't remember what happened in those 4 hours because my mind was in space. It was gone.
You're in fog. It's a fog, brain fog, I called it.
Man,
yep.
Guys, I'm telling you right now, we could talk till the cows come home on this. I could talk for hours and hours and hours. We could have 59 episodes. No one wants to listen to that much of us talking, right? Like we're not
right.
We're not that important in the world.
Right.
But I say that because the mental clarity and the ability to go from topic to topic and to really highlight things that I think are important in the world, that sense of drive and that sense of clarity was only done because I chose to make that path myself. You know, and part of my passion going forward is to give, you know, every other person that same opportunity to show you. Sometimes it's hard to get told, you know, I didn't understand coaching. I didn't understand mentorship. And when getting coached, you're only providing them with the tools for them to expose their own strengths, right? Like you guys, everyone, if I sat there and had a 20-minute conversation with Mitch and I had a 20-minute conversation with you, Brian, individually, you're going to bring something out in me that I didn't know I had, and I'm going to do the same for you. But until someone's willing to knock that door down and invest in yourself, you will never know that key to success is already within you. It's just unlocking it or finding the confidence or finding that extra little thing, that little hidden gem that we can all see, right? Like I'm sure your family members see a special thing in you, or your shift mates see a different thing in you, or, you know, any person you come across in your life. There's these little hidden gems everywhere in the world. To all humans are a very special way of our brains are amazing and our bodies and the things, our thoughts are amazing. But how many people...
the resiliency, the physical and mental resiliency that we were created with is we just have to be able to unlock it and unleash it. And one of the things you touched on, Jimmy, that kind of struck with me was, you know, how you were, or how you thought the world sees you.
Sure.
For me, I built from the day I was 17. Like I went in the military when I was 17, 4 days after I graduated high school. I built my persona on how I thought the world should see me.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I got to be a fucking warrior.
Yeah.
And because of my childhood traumas, like I've said it before, like the day I signed my Army contract, I actually said out loud, nobody will ever fucking hurt me again. Yeah. And from 17 up until probably not 6-8 months ago, it was the continuous building that warrior wall. I had to be this pillar, this warrior, you know, fit, strong, fast, tough, like all of those things. And I look back on it now and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
For what it served? Did it serve a purpose? Sure.
And it probably made you successful in a lot of aspects of your life.
In some levels, sure,
successful. But it also took away for Brian of who Brian is as a person.
And it did, because it's not me. Because my mother, God rest her soul, she made comments when I first got hired. She would make comments to family members about how worried she was about me. Well, I find out later, and I would always tell her, like, Mom, like, are you kidding? Like, I'm skilled. Like, I'm good. Like, if I'll have cover. Like, I'm not a ninja, but I'm fucking hard to kill. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
And I find out later from my older brother, literally just this last year, it's not what she was talking about.
Yeah.
She's talking about this shit. She knew I was a very, very sensitive person growing up, and like, I'm an ugly crier. I'll admit it, man. I'm a sensitive little bitch.
Yeah.
I just want to hug. You know what I mean? Like, that's the Brian, and that's, you're right. Building that wall, that warrior mentality wall, not only took away from me, but it took away so much from my family. Like, so much.
Sure.
Like, that's not who they need. They needed it on some level, and it sucks that I put everybody through that, and then I put myself through that. But coming out the other end, like you said, I'm blessed in it at the same time, because I've learned from it. Of like, now I can feel just in my brow line now, I'm not this all the time.
Sure.
My eyes are open. Yeah. And it's a great feeling. So what's this? I want to hear more about this leadership stuff. Like, what is that? Can you tell us about what that program is?
Yeah. So the design is in place. I'm not going to put a name to it till it's officially on the paperwork and sign the dotted lines, but I can give you the core outline of it and where we're headed with it. I've had the ability man, I'm not afraid to pick up the phone. So I've been on the phone with some police chiefs and some departments. And I will say, the good news for law enforcement is there's some departments doing it really, really the right way. There's a department in the Midwest that I'm talking to that they have 4 full-time therapists assigned to their agency. They have a full-time life coach assigned to their department. They have required training for neurological path training yearly, where their guys get hooked up and get trained yearly on their mental well-being. So
wow,
there are some departments that are on the very big forefront. There's a department in Florida that's doing the same thing. They have 7 counselors assigned to their department. The guys are provided services, and it's not done. Where we come from, and I'm sure where you're come from, the department, I should say this. Every department has resources. 100% they have resources. Even my department has resources.
Yes.
They're not utilized because the retaliation against you when you utilize them is not worth what's going to happen to your family and to your career, right? If you identify so yes, you're going to go to the governor's office and you're going to go to all these people and you're going to say, well, we have this resource, we have these resources. They're not there for the officer. They're there to check a box to say that the resource is provided.
Correct.
But retaliation and the fear for guys to ask for help is not there. And
we have Mitch, what our employee assistance program. Is there any, Mitch, chime in? Like, do you know more? I mean, I've used EAP several times. Aside, we have a peer support team, but peer support team is literally like the guys you work with every day. Fuck that. I don't trust them to not talk to other people. So, I mean, some I do. Don't get me wrong, but we don't have. There's no therapist. There's no. Yeah, here's number EAP. Call somebody. Have a good day. See you to work tomorrow.
So no, and that's exactly it. Like, with that being, said, it's kind of like when your department or my departments or anybody else's department, when they do like internal affairs. Well, we're all big police departments. Why are we doing internal affairs on our own people? Like, why don't we hand that off to the next door department and they hand it off to the department? It's because they want it to be hidden within their department so that if it's something that's bad, they can keep it internal. If it's not bad, then okay, we'll make it go away, no problem. And it's the same thing I would say about mental health is the goal is to create a program where we have an expertise and a knowledge to understand what these people are going through. And I'll never see the world through Brian's eyes. Brian's never going to see the world through Jimmy's eyes. But I have the empathy and the understanding and the compassion to know that you've probably seen some things that the majority of the people, 98% of the world, has not seen, right? Outside of some militaries and all the other first responders and other people that unfortunately were just raised in an environment or saw things they shouldn't see. The human being's not meant to see violence. The human being's not meant to see death. But there's also, family members of people that committed crimes. And those family members are victims as well in their own rights. And what did they see, right? So it's having the empathy and the understanding to know that people have seen things that they shouldn't see. Will I understand and comprehend how you saw those things? No. But I can tell you that there's programs and there's ways for you to be able to start self-healing and not do it in a destructive manner. So part of these things in the program that I'm kind of going to I'll kind of dip into a little bit and kind of get it is you guys are going to go against me on this. Okay. But we live our law enforcement career in the primitive part of your mind, right? Which is the very lower bottom cortex of your mind. That is where distrust in the flight and fight. That's where all that is stored, right? That's where your cortisol, your testosterone, that's where that's all happening. That's what your survival is. Why do we look at the world in a cynical place? Because that's what we're trained. Everyone's trying to kill you. Everyone's trying to fight you. Everyone's trying to do these things.
Be suspicious of everybody.
Be suspicious of everybody. And it's a unique way to say this. So like, let's walk through this together in a conversation before you jump off the bandwagon. 99% of your interactions, I would hope, the other person's not trying to kill you when you show up. They genuinely called because they want your service or they want you to do the right thing. Right. And I think we have to prepare for that. We have to prepare for that one time. And I understand that. I do. But why are we not living in the prefrontal cortex of our minds in law enforcement and first responders where trust is, where there's dopamine, where there's oxytocin, and it's all these positive thoughts. If we started acting in those manners and we're supposed to be primed as the top of the top, why are we not training our people to live in the healthy part of our mind every day? Knowing that what makes you that special person, and this is where I think the military does a good job, and the special forces, train them to trust people, train them, build leadership, build these happy emotions, build these positive connections, all these positive things, and then train to be able to flip into that other part of your mind when it's needed. That one time, that one situation, then go there. Because what's happening is our community is living in that bottom cortex, and we're always seeing negative. We're always cynical and all that. And then you try to go home and go to that front, that massive prefrontal cortex where all the positive is. You try to do that for
the amygdala. Yeah.
You can't get there. You can't get there. You can't do it.
That is, man, that's for me, man, that's profound. That's very enlightening the way you describe that, because from day one, when you get hired, and man, fuck, I'm a trainer. I was a field training officer. I was a senior defensive tactic instructor. I taught all the ninja skills, right?
Well, that's why
I
disagree, because defensive tactics is the first place where it's like, what is this pen used for? And I'm like writing a report, and they're like, no, stabbing in
exactly.
I'm like,
yes,
no, bro. Like, I'm not
yes.
pen in someone's neck. I'm writing a report with it.
You know how many times I've told recruits, like on traffic stops, like, yeah, I understand that you're pulling over a 92-year-old lady, but you better be thinking of ways to plug 2 bullets in the back of her fucking head at all times, because that's what was ingrained in me. And man, holy shit! I know this probably sounds corny, but I am literally so enlightened right now hearing you say it the way you just said it, because, man, you're right. Why are we? There's a place for that. You have to teach readiness. You have to teach skills. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there should be more emphasis on, like you said, the majority of our contacts are positive contacts, or even if they're not positive contacts, nobody's trying to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
And train to flip that switch, man, that's detrimental to people.
Yeah.
And that explains literally everything that I did, and I'll say wrong in quotes, emotionally and in my personal life, because I was always another great analogy. And I've told this to Mitch, my therapist has told me, who knows nothing about law enforcement. He's like, guys and gals like you live 10, 12 hours a day with what he refers to as the badassery right at the front, right at the amygdala all day. Hypervigilance, and the badassery is there, ready to pull the trigger at any point. And he's like, what we need to do is get you to learn it's a skill set. It's a good skill set. Take that badassery, put it in your front pocket so that it's there when you need it. Be open, be vulnerable, be nice, but be able to, it's the same thing you're saying. But the way you said it for me really struck like that. And that makes it so much more understanding.
And the reason I'm confident in this program is this is what made me successful in my career. This is what allowed me to be a TFO and work high-level federal cases, is I actually worked my career in my prefrontal cortex. I trusted people. I built amazing relationships. I still talk to what we label as criminal informants. Some say confidential human sources. How about cooperators, right? I still to this day.
That's a great point. Yeah.
I still to this day, a year removed, still have conversations weekly, if not daily, with multiple people that were on the other side of the world, because they know I care about their family. They know I care about their kids. And they know that I had their best interest because they were able to help themselves. And I've worked with bad helpers as well. I've wrote search warrants for my own helper's house because they couldn't get out of their own way.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'm not saying this is everybody, but I went to work looking for the good in people. Even in the worst environments of the worst, I went to work looking for the good in people, and I was able to connect with these people instantaneously, not because I was faking it, because I genuinely cared about them as people.
Yeah.
And that's what made me successful in my narcotics career, man. I could relate to people in the worst environments of all times because I looked at them as a human being first and never looked at them as a criminal. I didn't.
Absolutely.
Because
I agree, man.
A lot of those guys and a lot of those girls that I worked with, if they were raised in my household with my mom and dad and my brother and the family that I grew up in, they would be me. And if I was raised in the households they were raised in, I might be worse. I might be worse than what they were. Because these people.
That's a good point too.
And highly, so I had that ability. But that comes with, this is Jimmy. I had this confidence though because I was athletic. I was most of my career, I worked between 260 and 285 pounds of a lot more muscle than fat. I'm not saying I was ripped up,
Jesus.
but I was solid. I'm a big boy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I carried myself with confidence. I held my chest out. I knew that if time came, now I'm not going to stop a bullet, right? I'm not built at bulletproof. But
Right.
I also know that walking down the street and you're who you are, there's not random acts of shooting everywhere in America. That does not, I know it's on the news every day. That's not common
Right.
practice. So that wasn't something that I
Right.
walked in fear every day. Man, guys at work would, Brian, you would hate me, man. Guys at work would laugh. I go to search warrants and forget my freaking gun. Like, I was,
Yeah, I'd fucking hate you for sure.
yeah, man, I'm that typical guy. Like, if I had my vest, that's a great day. If I found my gun, it's even a better day. So, like, but that's what made me successful. I'm going to be honest, though, because I was a human being first. At all times,
Yeah.
I was only human. Now, I carried a shell because I did work some high-level cases. I worked in some gang activity, and I worked with some violent people. So, like, I'm not saying this to be naive. So I don't want other cops or other people in this realm to hear this and just let your guard down. That is not what I'm saying.
Yeah, no.
What I'm saying is, if you think about the positive and you see the positive in the society's going to see a positive in you. And there's a lot of distrust.
I've always said, right, we talk about the badassery and be prepared to do this. I can honestly say I have always believed there are more good people in this world than bad. There just are. I'm the guy, like, I'm the cop. Society. I'm speaking to society. I'm the cop you want to deal with. I'm friendly. I'm funny. Like, I make light of everything. I've posted on my LinkedIn some YouTube links where there were news stories done about me. That's me. I mean, if you go look at those YouTube links, that's the guy that I am. Like, it's on the flip side, like you were talking about, right? That part in the back of your brain, it seems that even though you can put on this smile, that's still lingering there. That's there all for me, all the time. Like, you got to be this warrior, you got to be this ninja, you got to be, and that doesn't do anybody any fucking good.
No, and I still have my moments. I'm not telling you, I'm by no means this like walking around angel all of a sudden because I put time in personal growth and leadership. That's not true either. But I will say that a lot more of my waking moments are much more productive and in that direction than they ever were before. And they're going to continue. I'm going to grow every day for the rest of my life. And I don't see a finish line anymore. Before I used to put a date to everything. There was a date to this. There was a date to that. Do this till then, and do this till then. Yes. Man, I'm just going to grow. I'm just going to grow every day.
Timelines for everything, regimented, and timelines for every fucking thing.
I did that in personal relationships. I did that in conversations.
You mate?
I did that in business. And to me, man, I don't see finish lines anymore. I just grow, man. Just be a better person every single day, and just fill your cup with positive thoughts and positive energy. And I'm gonna give that to others. And I think we're gonna make a big difference. And I'm not saying I'm gonna save the world, because there's a lot of guys doing what I'm attempting to do. There is. And there's a really cool, unique force of people that want to do this. I'm just trying to unite the forces, and let's multiply it, man. Let's do it with the multiplier effect and get as many people out here speaking about it, publicize it, be proactive about it. But you have to do all of that. And it's the same thing I say about the job. You have to live it. And I'm confident, and I'm there's nothing I'm hiding in that regard. No one's going to call me to the carpet and say, hey, you're saying this in public and you're doing all these things. You're not going to have people out of the woodworks coming and saying, oh, by the way, you're like this, you're like that. You have to own it. And it's kind of like the lifestyle, right? Like, Mitch, I hope you take that, as you move back into your thing, be aware of your self-awareness. You can't be this thing and say, I'm good. I'm refocus my thoughts and everything's in a positive direction, and then drink that poison Kool-Aid and get right back in the trap. And hopefully you'll be able to identify those factors. And that's part of the program that we're trying to design, Brian, is what are the factors, and what are the what ifs, and who are your safety nets that when they say something's off, it's off. Don't argue it. Don't defend it, because those are your safety nets that when you're at your healthiest, those are your people that when they say it's wrong, you need to go get help. I don't want to if, ands, or buts about it. You have to create that trust tree. I don't know who that's going to be for each individual. Some people, that's going to be their children. Some people, that's going to be their significant other. Others is going to be a battle buddy. Others is going to be some childhood friend that has no connection to your daily grind. But in our program, you're going to be able to identify these people in your life. And when that person says it's okay, you might be able to hide to me on a phone call. You might be able to hide to your shift mates. When that person says you're off, it's time to do something different.
You know, I had a conversation a few weeks ago. My best friend of 30 years, Adam, and it's funny, as I'm looking up, there's the wall in front of me is all pictures of me and him with dead elk, because we kill elk with our bows. Like, and it reminded me. And just a few weeks ago, through this whole journey of myself, we went to a local sportsman show, and we're driving back, and we're just sitting there bullshitting. And he said something that was so simple to me, because I was talking to him about the things that I've noticed about myself, and I was apologizing to him. And I was genuinely apologizing to this dude for the shit that I've put my best friend through. Because guess who gets the calls at wee hours in the morning sometimes?
Yeah.
Or it's a complete fucking asshole in hunting camp, because I'm, how many times I show up on hunting camp and one of my buddies just got fucking shot, and I'm dealing with that. You know what I mean? All that crap. But one of the things he said to me that made me realize that this journey was worth it is he looked me dead in the eye and he goes, "Man, I'm so happy to have my best friend back. I got you back, dude.
Yeah.
Like I got you back. The guy that I met 30 years ago, that's my best friend. And I got my best friend back."
Yeah.
And he's like, "And I'm going to tell you right now, you ever think about being a cop again, I'll fucking kill you myself."
Sure.
Like but it's things like that where we see, where I wasn't seeing, you feel better, but when people that you know are telling you like you're changed, like things are good for you, and I bet you could probably reflect on that too. Go back a year, you weren't this. I promise you weren't this chatty, smiley Jimmy a year ago.
No,
because I know I fucking wasn't.
No, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely not. And that's the unique thing about it, man. Is to go out and help others. It's not about my story anymore. Everyone has a story.
Right.
There's a million stories, and everyone's is unique one way or the other, but they're all going to have some intersections that crossroads that match up. So it's able to use that empathy and to reflect on those stories. That's going to be able to connect and resonate with those people. That is the point. But no, I was not that person, and that's what I said. This isn't just a light bulb moment. This isn't a wake up and improvement. This has been 14 months of every single day creating new essentials in my life, reading, getting away from the nonsense of useless TV and all those. I used to play softball everywhere, man. I'd play 5 nights a week and travel on the weekends. And I'm doing that while working a career that's taking every hour of my life and while having 2 young kids. Look back in the mirror.
Right.
What was I doing? All I was doing was writing and masking these emotions and these things that for what? Why hide? Man, just own it. Life is short.
Own it.
Own it.
Yep.
Man, I apologize. My kids are 7 and 5 now, and they were 4 and 6 at the time. They just turned, my son turned 5 in November. My daughter just turned 7 in January. So he's halfway through the mark of being 5, but my daughter's a new 7-year-old.
Yeah.
But I had to have an adult conversation with them to say, Daddy loves you so, so, so much, and he will never make this mistake again. And they're my accountability, right? Like, they're not going to be the ones that
That's awesome.
They're not going to be the ones that look at me and say, Daddy, you're having a bad day. Like, no, they're not that age.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But like when I wake up every day and I look at them in the eyes, that's my accountability check. Right. And then I have other checks and balances now that are people that know, hey, today is a day, man, you need to buckle back down. And I'm good with that. And I've hired coaches. I've hired mentors. I've invested in myself. And I'm only doing those things because I'm going to have to tell others they need to do the same. And if you're not willing to do it yourself, the best investment I've ever made is investing in myself. Because I can tell you
that's right.
Before this year, outside of some supplements and some gym memberships, there was no investment in myself. It was just go. And if you're in the first responder community and you think you're getting trainings, you're going to these trainings and these conferences and all these things, let's be honest what it's about. It's about going to the bar, having 3 days to drink with your buddies. You're not doing any development. You're not really learning any skills. Yes, you're networking. Like if you got a case somewhere and you needed somebody to call.
Sure.
But so to get back to the program and what I'm trying to do with this program is mental health is, to me, paramount. But if we label mental health in the first responder world, it's not accepted and it's not always seen with open arms because it has a negative condensation to it, right? Sad to say, but that's the reality. Let's just call it for what it is. In our profession, we all carry firearms, and if you're labeled mental health, guess what's the first thing people are going to start to question? Are you able to carry your firearm?
And we are attached to that. And what people don't realize, and I've heard other people talk on this podcast too, Rob Pointer, one of the guys, I'd encourage anybody to listen to that. He talked about the day he turned his firearm in, and that was like devastating. And he's like, you don't really realize that thing has been glued to you for, a decade plus.
Yeah.
That's, even though it's this little piece of steel, you've trained with it, you've qualled with it, all the things, and you're letting it go.
Yeah. So
letting it go.
So the cool part about me walking away is she's like, well, you got an open internal, but you're not gonna get your retirement badge right away. I'm like, I didn't wear my badge when I was at work.
Okay.
I didn't wear a badge when I was at work. I don't give a damn about that badge.
Right.
Keep the badge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Piece of metal, melt it down. But no, with that being said, so what we're doing is in my program is I am here to develop the person. And so we're going to focus on personal growth. We're going to focus on leadership. Leadership shouldn't have a title. A leader is someone that does that others follow, right? It's done by influence. Influence is done by your daily actions. So I don't care if you're just officer so-and-so or you're deputy chief so-and-so. If you are a good person, you're growing and you're intentional about what you do with your daily life, you're going to influence those around you. So our program, or my program, is going to be based on personal growth, leadership, knowing that I'm affecting your mental health, which is going to make you a better person, which in turn is going to make the department a better department and us make us a better society. And that's the number one mission, man, is to get into it, get into the networking of these people, get in and get some help. The caveat to be is we can have this conversation and Brian probably understands. Mitch quietly is probably like, I'm not paying for myself. I'm a cop and I'm not doing this because you're in it and I didn't invest in myself either. I'll be the first to tell you. So I'm personally working on finding some grant funding. I'm trying to get in with a couple departments. I've been working with them. That my mission is to have the department get a grant. We are funded by the grant. The department will provide the service, my services to your department, that the officer can get these resources for free so that the officer's not coming out of pocket. It's paid for by a grant. And then in return, I'll write a monthly summary back to your department of the things, not identifying the officers using the resources, because there's going to be a part that is protected for those guys. But a summary will go back to the department, so the department is getting a benefit because we will show the trends, negative, positive, and steady. And the department's growth off that is what the department chooses to do. But hopefully they would see that their guys are healthier, they're speaking out, they're developing skills for life. They're developing skills to become a better human being, and also provide them some training and some certificates that they can use outside their first responder world. These are things, these are coping mechanisms. These are things that are going to benefit your family, you as a person, the community you're serving. They're all going to be positive influences. At the same time, I don't work for your department and I've never worked with you. So I'm hoping that there's a little bit more connection because I'm not going to be on your next promotion board. I'm not going to be on your next transfer list. I'm not affiliated with your department and there's no retaliation. I am genuinely here because I want you to be happier and healthier. Yeah. And then in return, every month, every quarter, however the department sees fit, we would write a summary back to the department. Hey, I've met with X number of officers, not names, not IDs, just the total number of officers we've met with. These are the 8 major bullet points that we've taken in these notes that seem to be resounding issues within your department. The department can now look at that and say, is that a training flaw? Is that a developmental flaw? Is that a leadership flaw? Where are we missing the mark? And hopefully they'll grow from that. And, the cool thing, I'm not a big AI guy. I'm about personal connection.
Me too. Yeah.
But I will say in the AI world, there's also these AI note takers. So if we can do some of these transcripts in AI, they are able to take multiple interviews, multiple recordings, multiple sessions and overlay the information. And then from there, give a really good diagnostic breakdown of the resounding effects. So it's not my only perception. It's factual information being broken down to say, these are the really positive trends we're seeing. These are the really negative trends we're seeing. And my goal is to put myself out of business by getting people healthy. I want everyone to be so healthy that they don't need my resource. That would be my dream.
And it's going to take it's going to take, and the skeptics out there, Jimmy, you've already touched on, there are agencies out there that are proactive about this. And I'll be honest, like for me, because I only have the experience that I have. I only know what I know.
Sure.
And of course, in my brain, I'm immediately thinking like, fuck, this is awesome. However, it's going to have to, the agencies are going to have to be willing to be vulnerable and accountable, because the report, and I can tell you the agency that Mitch works for on a lot of levels, they've hired outside companies. You remember that, Mitch, a few years back, they hired outside companies to look at like their entire use of force database, because they wanted to be open and transparent. Like, do we have training issues? Do we have, but those are physical skills that they can always, I'll say, blame, right? Quote unquote, on training issues. What you're talking about is there's possible doors to be open where leadership's going to have to be vulnerable and be held accountable.
Sure.
And that's scary for them. Yeah. It's absolutely, it just is. And if they're willing to do that, they're a fucking leader. That's what a leader is. That's a leader, not a manager. They're willing to be like, no, I need to be open. Just like we're willing to be open and vulnerable for growth and mental health and healing. They need to be that way as leaders as well. And I really hope you're able to find leaders and organizations in this country that are willing to be vulnerable and be held accountable in that manner. I really do.
100%. And that's the leadership. That's the key to leadership, right? And I relate a lot of my things to athletics, because I grew my my mind and my molding was to the athletic fields and to the athletic environments. The best coaches in the world, and I played for some really good ones across the board, man. I had a high school coach that was absolutely amazing. They're the coach. They're what's on the press. They're the one that do the X's and O's, and they do all the things. The really good coaches are the ones that allow the leaders within the team to actually lead the team, and they mold that leader, right? And that makes them a better leader. And that's the same thing that happens on the road. Like, some groups, maybe I was the leader. Some groups, maybe I wasn't the leader, and I can't toot my own horn. But I would say if you went and talked to all the buddies that have ever worked with me, and a lot of the groups I was on, I would probably have been labeled a leader. Were my leadership skills to the point of what they are now, and my understanding of what a leader truly is? No. I'm very clear, and I'm very intentional now in my mindset and where I need to go and how to become a better human being every day. But naturally, I had that quality, and I had the ability to kind of overtake a room when I walked in. So now it's having that presence and having that personal connection, but you got to live it. You have to learn every day how each person works and how each skill is going to be transferable to every aspect of their life. I'm not here to make you a better cop. I just want you to be a better human being.
Right. And there's such a level of integrity across, and everybody knows, like, the definition of integrity, doing the right thing even when nobody's looking. And that's even holding ourselves accountable. Like, we've all had to, we've all slipped up doing picket, whatever, but even holding yourself accountable, like, oof, yeah, I fucked that up, or I messed that up, or, going to somebody that you've wronged. And like I said, man, I really, really, really hope that you're able to find, even if it's just one chief or one sheriff that is willing to, let's face it, to put themselves out there, because that's what they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
And to be vulnerable in that manner. And if they would just listen to people like us, the line people, the people at the bottom, if more leaders would actually listen to those people and not follow the politics and the bureaucracies, the leadership success that they would have. Some of the best leaders that I worked for in the military, and we can talk offline about what I did in the military. Nothing like all the shit you see on TV now, but like I had a lieutenant tell me one time, and this is one of those lieutenants that was very, very respected. He went from an NCO to be a commissioned officer, so he wasn't a ROTC guy, or coming out of West Point or some fucking line puke that we call them. But I was always this guy in my unit that, like, you want my respect, you got to earn it. You got to earn my respect if you want it, because that's how my daddy raised me. And this guy put it to me so bluntly and so clearly. We were in we'll say an undisclosed location,
Sure.
sitting in the middle of nowhere. And he's like, man, and we're talking about this respect thing. And I was young. I mean, I'm like 20. And he goes, have you ever thought about just giving people your respect until they give you a reason not to? How do you argue that?
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's leadership.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what I was saying is having a leader that's okay to be open, accountable, and vulnerable like that. I will never forget that guy for the rest of my life. I haven't seen him. Man, I'm 52 years old. I haven't seen him in 30 freaking years. But I will never forget him because of that conversation, because that's a leader, not a manager. That's a leader. And I really, really do, Jimmy. I really hope that you're able to find people that are willing to do that, because it's obvious you're excited about this, you're knowledgeable about it, and you've got the skills to do it. And man, I'm excited to see where that goes for you. I really am.
And that's the unique thing about joining the Maxwell program, man, is I got a team of 56,000 coaches now. And if I can't answer the question for you, I got a resource and a support team now that somebody in that 56,000 people, I think they'll be able to connect with you. Right.
You think, right?
That's part of mentorship, man. Like, there's been situations where I've called, I started this process and I met a guy named Damone Brown. He wrote a book, Black People Can't Swim, and an amazing guy. And he's worked me through some things, and we've kind of dug through some things, and he was my first mentor. And, he got really busy and he started diving into things. He's like, Jimmy, reach out to this guy. And then I didn't realize, I thought at first, I was like, man, this guy's just kind of whatever. No, he took me to that point of the bridge where now I needed the next step. And then that guy's, you kind of work with him for a couple weeks. And then he's like, hey, man, you should really call so-and-so. And I didn't understand how the process worked, because I was kind of like, why do you guys keep pawning me off? Like,
right. You're pushing me to somebody else.
Getting me to this point where I'm like foaming at the mouth, like, man, I'm learning so much, and da-da-da-da. And then you're like, man, call so-and-so. And I'm like, well, that wasn't the thesis. Like, we didn't end the education project yet. No,
right.
That's what I learned. That finish line doesn't end. There's so many people. There's levels to this, man. There's levels. And there's always the next level, right? I heard Ryan Leak speak the other day. And he's talking about levels to it. And he's like, I'm hanging out with my rich friends and their houses and all this. And he goes, no, I went to like a rich guy's house. He goes, I went back to my rich friend and was like, you're poor. And like, when he said it, it's true, man. There's levels to every aspect of this world. Like, you go to the gym and you're put together. I can see you in the video. You're put together on that. You go to the gym, you ain't the biggest dude in the gym, right? Like, there's levels.
Nope.
there's levels to this.
That's why I don't go to gyms, Jimmy. If I'm going to be honest with you, I work out at home because I don't like the fucking fashion show.
Yeah.
But I walk in there and I'm like, well, fuck, I thought I was doing good. Look at that motherfucker.
Yeah. But so no, and that's the point of the group. That's the cool thing of having the support system and being vulnerable myself, man. It took a lot of pride. I'm telling you, I thought I did the world the right way for the first 40 years. For lack of better vocabulary, it was like that all-American image, right? Like, went through school and high school and was very successful. I was a good athlete, man. I was the quarterback of the high school team. I got to play college quarterback in college, and I was the starting quarterback for the college for a couple of years, and was a very successful 23-year-old high school football coach. We won our conference championship in the second year. Like, win. It was always winning. Became a trooper and got accolades and got moved to narcotics very early in my career. I mean, I think I literally wore a uniform for less than 2 years. Like, it was quick.
Jeez.
So everything was good to then have the world drop a bomb on you. And man, for the high heavens, it's the best. 3 months into it, I would have never told you it was the best thing in the world. I can tell you now, I was miserable. I was miserable. But the resiliency and the bounce back from it, man, I am so glad it happened when I was 40 years old, and that I have an infinity number of years left to make the positive changes. Because if I didn't, I'd be the first one to tell you, man, I'd still be dragging knuckles and making poor choices in life, thinking I was doing the right thing. Now, I'm going to say this. I always thought I was doing the right thing. I did. I firmly believe that. But
truth.
Having the ability to step back, look in the mirror. I said it on John's show, man. When this all hit last year, I went like on an apology tour, and I called some people and said, man, I'm sorry. And they're like, what are you calling me for? I'm like, you don't understand. I had these things buried
Mm-hmm.
deep down inside. Sorry for what I did. Sorry for this. Sorry for that. And it kind of let that stuff go. And I would say by about midsummer last year, even during my case and talking to my attorneys and everything else, I said, take whatever deal. I don't care. I just wanted to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I did it. That doesn't matter to me. Let's just make it
Right.
go away. I want this chapter of my life to go away. And
Yep.
let's move on, man. Let's move on. I'll
Yep.
hug everybody. Let's get one big group hug.
Yep.
Hey, man, I'm glad we had the time we had, but guess what? My rocket boosters at this level are falling off, and I'm going to the next level at this point. And
Right.
that was the cool thing. That's the part of like forgiveness and all that. You heard my podcast with John Kelly. You guys probably didn't know me before that, but even from the interview in December with John to you guys talking to me, here early in April, you can probably see the difference in those 4 months. And I hope that growth continues for me, but more importantly for everyone that I touch in their life from this point going forward.
Well, and it's, I come back to, again, for me, it's like God did not create us to be guilty and shamed, and that's not what we were created for. There's accountability, but we can't wallow in that. That's not what we were created to do. We were created to do great things, and great has a different meaning for everybody. For somebody, doing a great thing could be simple as mowing the lawn. That could be something great for them or their family. It's just there's going to be down days. There's going to be things that happen, and you kind of alluded to it earlier. It's about how we get back up, right? The old college football coach, like, I don't give a shit how you got knocked down. It's how you get back up that matters.
Yeah,
that's what defines a person, is how you get back up. And so many first responders find themselves in that we talked about earlier, right? That couch potato mode. They won't get up.
Yeah,
they just won't get up, man. They're motivated and kicking ass at work, but when they get home, nope.
Yeah,
they won't get back up. And it's like, at some point, as a human being, and so many people don't ever come out of that. I see the statistics every single day, and it's not because I go looking for them, because I try not to. But it's also a good reminder for me. I genuinely feel like I have dodged a bullet, metaphorically speaking. I absolutely, like, this happened for a reason, because if it didn't, Jimmy, I can tell you, I would still be putting that gun belt on every single day. I would have no wife. My kids would never talk to me, but by golly, I'm a cop.
100%. 100.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for what?
It's so true. And it's one of those things. And I want to give credit to where it is and part of my mindset and my growth. But I don't know if you guys have ever read it. She's a relationship person, but her name's Esther Pearl, and she did an analogy to 9/11. And 9/11 is a moment that most people, our age or older, and even a little bit younger, will live forever. And when she started talking about it, I'm like, man, it's a bold move to go to 9/11. But she's saying 9/11 was catastrophically one of the worst events of all time. But no matter what occurred that day, September 12th was going to happen, right? The day was not going to stop. And you can do one of two things when the world hits the worst part. You can absolutely do nothing. You can do nothing at all and say it happened, and Mother Nature is going to take over everything. Mother Nature is going to still happen. It's going to grow over it. It's going to build on top of it, and you're going to be laying there in the rubble, and you did nothing to help yourself. Or when you wake up on September 12th, you hire engineers, and you hire coaches, and you hire the best of the best of the best, and you start to rebuild. And when you rebuild, guess what? The rebuild is always better than the original. I'm not saying for anyone that is the saddest moment of any time of part of life. I am not saying anything negative about 9/11, the people that lost. Very tragic event. I'm giving it as an analogy for the concept of an event that occurred that the world still kept going on. So if you can reflect to that to your personal life, when something hits you the absolute hardest, or maybe not even that hard, what do you do the next day when you wake up? Do you let Mother Nature take you back over and just engulf you and grow on top of you, and you're lost and you've lost your soul? Or do you go out and find the best engineers, the best things out there, the best tools and resources to make you a better person?
Yeah, because we do. I think, God bless my wife. She's always been that. I catastrophized Like I'm not that way anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, probably a little bit, but not like I used to be, where she was always like, when it came to job stuff, getting put on administrative leave or whatever, I mean, I'm losing my shit. Like, what am I going to do? She's like, we will sell all of this.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
This is family.
Yeah.
This is our house. And, for me, I'm just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't have skills. I don't, and then you come through that storm and you're like, no, actually, I'm pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm pretty damn awesome. And I got some cool things lined up. And fortunately for me, I do. And I have the job that I have now for an amazing dude with an awesome company. And
yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So, well, dude, man, this has been awesome. I mean, I think we're damn near 3 hours into this, I think, total. And what time is it there for you now? It's 2 in the morning.
We're at 2:04 a.m. right now. Yeah.
2:04. Yeah, 11 o'clock here. I'm like, how many hours past supper are we now, Mitch? Jeez.
9, 10, yeah.
So, but no, and like guys, I genuinely want to say I'm so proud of you guys as well. And I'm not just saying that because I'm speaking to you today, but anyone that's on the forum, I stay away from people that bash it. I've had opportunities to speak to others that want the down and dirty and to throw names out and to bet that is not going to benefit anybody. That doesn't help anybody. That doesn't change the course. That's not going to make anybody feel better. So I'm really proud that you guys give people the platform to speak. Because each story has its own resounding effect. But more importantly, like you said, I hope it hits one person. Reality, I hope it really does hit 100 people. I'm going to be selfish. I don't want to just hit one person. I want to hit a lot of people. Whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's somebody they confide in, man, if you're having the moment, find that moment of clarity. I do wish that I didn't put a dent in a car, right? At the end of the day, it's the best.
Whatever.
It's the best freaking thing that's ever happened to me my entire life.
Yeah.
Man. It gave me a whole new sense of life. It let me find my soul. It let me become a freaking rock star dad. I'm reading at my son's preschool now in the classroom. I'm going to field trips. I'm at dances. Man, those are things I've never done, man. Those are.
I was going to say, because you can.
You can, man.
You can now.
I'm on the board of directors at a youth sports organization. And these are all things that truly are things I wanted to do as a human being that now I'm.
Yeah.
So like.
Yes.
Yeah, it sucks. And yeah, I'll have that picture on a lot of presentations on a lot of stages that this little dent here is the life-changing event, right? Like it might not be the story of the lifetime, but when people see how minor of something can occur, can open up the door to just a lifetime of success, man, that's a cool thing. So your guys' platform is absolutely a really unique and positive thing. I'm so grateful to meet Brian through the connections that we made. And I hope you guys continue. I know life is going your guys' own separate ways, but I do hope in this busy time that you guys are able to continue to find the time to give people a platform, whether it's weekly, daily, or monthly, whatever that fits your guys.
Yeah.
I hope you really do understand how important it is what you're doing.
We don't take it light. And thank you so much for that. Thank you for those awesome words. I can even say when I interviewed, right, with this panel of people at this company that I work for now, at the end of it, I actually gave them all cards for this podcast, and I told them straight. And I mean, this interview was 2 hours, and I laid it all out there. And I knew, of course, I know the owner, but these people that I'm meeting for the first time, and I told them straight, I was like, you have to understand this podcast and my advocacy for first responders will never stop.
Yeah.
Never stop. It's never, I obviously we're probably not going to be able to put things out every Sunday like we have been for, 30 some episodes, but I'm never, ever going to stop. I always carry cards on me. I was just in Arizona a few weeks back. I was handing cards out to cops down there.
Yeah.
Like that's where our heart is. It's that I've spent the majority of my adult life serving.
Yeah.
And whether it's the military or law enforcement.
And I'm going to continue to push you guys as soon as my platform goes live, whether it's tomorrow or in a month, it'll come out. Once it goes live, you'll have a link at the bottom of mine. It'll go to all the organizations I work with because it's about promotion. This is nothing.
Yes, networking. Yes.
Like I said, there's a million stories, and somebody might love Brian's personality, someone might love Jimmy's personality, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's still a resounding effect that we want healthy people and we want a healthy community. And I
Right.
think we all enjoy the aspirations of why we joined the job. It's just the job didn't give back the return that we thought on the investment when we first signed up, and that's okay. Because time,
exactly. I was just going to say, and that's okay. And it's brought all of us to where we are now, to glean from our 15, 16 years experience, and pass that torch on, and pass on some learning and understanding to other people, and know that to everybody, like, they're not alone. Like, there's a whole community of us out there that are transitioning out of law enforcement, whether it was forced or just wanting out.
Yeah.
I would also strongly encourage Jimmy, if you're not familiar, Jessica Flores, The Next Shift. Look her up on LinkedIn.
I just listened to her whole 2 episodes with you guys when I was driving down the road the other day.
Yeah. Right. Same thing. Right. I mean, and anybody listening, if you're wanting to transit, like, I'll everybody plugs. Doug White, tell the story. Like, there's so many podcasts out there. Like, we're one of many podcasts.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who is either being forced out of that job or you're wanting out of it, man, go check out The Next Shift. She is awesome, man. She's a ball of energy. I'm gonna tell you that. She will never quit on you. She's a ball of energy, and she focuses on, that's her job now, is she helps people transition from law enforcement back into the civilian sector, stop scrolling Indeed and all the other crap, and helps you do that. So
no, it's
there's avenues, and there's resources, and I'm excited for you, man. I can't wait for you to get this off the ground.
Yeah,
it's going to be cool, and I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely stay in contact greatly. And like I said, I do hope, as you guys transition, and Mitch, you get back into the gear, man, just stay grounded, stay humble. And I hope you are really an advocate for the platform that you've created, because you can make a difference within as well. And we need those people.
Yeah.
Because there's not many, like I said earlier in the show, my biggest regret was not having the fortitude to speak up. And when things aren't right because of retaliation or because of fear, just know that there's a way and an outlet that you can do it and be successful, and I do hope that resonates through you and everyone else that listens.
Yeah, Jimmy,
awesome.
I was quiet through most of it, but I soaked up every little bit of it, and it's super inspiring. I'm excited for you to get your platform launched. I look forward to referring tons of different people to you.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I appreciate that.
It'll happen in return, but that's the thing, man. We're a community where I am the biggest pro family. My parents have been married 40 plus years. I love the family environment. I'm pro first responder. It's just, I have a higher calling right now, man. I have a whole different higher calling. There's things that are calling for me to do a different platform and give me a different stage. And I think you guys have a unique ability to do the same thing. And that's the coolest thing about this.
Yep, and it's like networking. It's like, man, I want to support you and your venture, and we just, like, I mean, the LinkedIn thing, with however LinkedIn's about as far as I go, as far technology wise. Like, I don't do social media, so I don't have all the Insta book of face and whatever's.
Hook me on LinkedIn, and then I have Instagram, which is Jimmy_Ward_2. Real original. It's my name, first, last, and on the second, and And Facebook's the same name. I have the same username for all of them. But outside of that, things will come, and as they come out, we'll blast them across all the platforms. But I'm easy to get a hold of. If you guys have somebody that wants to reach out, honestly, you can just give them my cell phone. I literally will answer the phone for anybody. And and
perfect.
Contact.
Perfect.
And I can't thank you guys enough, man. We could talk all night.
Thank you. Thank you. And for those of you listening, I can actually say this now. Brian Rogers. It's probably the first time I've used my last name. Look, Brian Rogers on LinkedIn. It's you'll see the shielded voices thing there. The only thing that's on my LinkedIn, I can promise you, is just going to be shielded. I don't do it for social media. It's just networking. If you want to connect, if you want to be a guest, if you know people that are like, oh my gosh, man, I got a story to tell, hit me up. And I mean, that's how I hooked up with Jimmy. I heard him on a podcast. I'm like, I messaged him. He's like, hell yeah, let's do this. Yeah. And here we are. So
speaking of,
thanks again, man. For those of you listening,
speaking of social media, not to cut you off, just a funny nugget.
Yeah.
When you know you're a cop, I just created social media over the last year, and I just created LinkedIn back in December. When I logged into LinkedIn and all my contacts and all the people that I work with that are cops have a LinkedIn page with their profiles and their pictures, that's when I realized I was doing the thing wrong, because I was hiding and trying to keep secrecy and do my job the way it was supposed to be designed and intended for.
Yes.
And when I logged into LinkedIn and every one of my shift mates is in a full badge,
yes,
and identified as a trooper, I'm like, so are you guys
wait a minute
for yourself and your next career, or are you hiding in the weeds like we're supposed to be? And
right.
So anyways, that was completely off the topic. But man, speaking of LinkedIn, I started laughing when I logged in and saw all the cops that were on LinkedIn. I was like, what the heck is going on here?
I see. It's the same thing. I had Facebook when it first came out for a minute, and I was like, nope. And I've never had an ounce of social media since. And now I get on LinkedIn, I'm like, bro, you're like in uniform. You actually say who you work for. Your name. Oh my God. Okay. Nope. Nope. Now I can, right? I'm not in the job anymore, so cool. I don't care. But well, thanks, man. Great catching up with you and connecting with you, brother. For those of you listening, thank you so much for listening. Do the like, subscribe, follow. Again, we say it every time. We're not making money. The guest is not making money. We really, truly, genuinely just want to reach that one person. And hopefully you like this episode and let us know.
Awesome. All right, guys, everyone, best wishes, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
Hey, thanks, Jimmy.
See you.
Bye.